Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday night. It's 7 o'clock, and we are live. Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday night. It's 7 o'clock, and we are live. Welcome to Detox. I'm your host, Veronica Brockwell. So tonight we have an interesting topic. We are going to talk about a little fungus called mold, and who better to educate us on the dangers of this is our favorite doctor. Dr. Wild is a chiropractic physician, a functional medicine practitioner, and a certified cellular and detoxification specialist. And we always love to see Michael and his little dog, Ralphie.
Hello again.
Dr. Michael Wild, hello.
Very good. And let Ralphie make his official appearance.
Oh,
since his haircut is showing off.
Look at that little haircut. He's so handsome.
There he is. So he's my partner in crime. He's here with every podcast. As you know, he's usually hidden right down here because he's getting his head scratched the whole time.
So, Michael, I'm very excited because we actually have a sponsor this evening. So I'm gonna roll their website across the ticker. So this is wiseair.com. And they are your dehumidifier and air filtration system specialists. And I think this is perfect for tonight's topic because we are discussing mold. Exactly.
It is a perfect topic. And I want to say I'm excited that we're sponsored because that means we've made it.
I know. Woohoo! That's so exciting. I know. That's what I thought too. I know. All right. So we are going to talk certainly about mold, but for people that do not know how fabulous you are, can you bring everybody up to speed on what you do, please?
Sure. Well, I'm glad you think I'm fabulous. I appreciate that.
Everyone thinks you're fabulous. They do. They're like, we love the doctor.
Well, that's great. I mean, I just love imparting information and knowledge because, the old saying is that knowledge is power, but in reality, that's not true at all. Knowledge is just information. And it's only powerful if you act on it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I try to give people information and then tools to be able to act on it.
Right.
Because I want you to be able to make a difference in your lives. I'm on a mission. And, for those of you who don't know, I lost my wife to cancer 7 years ago. And in the battle with that, I learned an awful lot about cellular health and healing. I was able to let her follow protocols I created that enabled her to live 15 times longer than the top oncologist said she would for her very rare aggressive kind of cancer. Yeah. And I'm not saying to pat myself on the back because I lost her, but it was 15 times longer than she would have had.
Right.
And so I promised her right before she died that as her legacy, I was going to take the information I learned and teach other people how to use that information earlier and in many different situations in order to improve the quality and quantity of their life and hopefully not have them end up as another sad statistic, And so that's why I do what I do. And as you mentioned when we were opening, I'm a chiropractic physician, which means that I focus on connecting the brain to the body better, which is what chiropractic's all about for our nervous system communication. I'm also a functional medicine practitioner. I've been doing that for a little over 15 years. And that means I work to rebalance the systems of your body rather than treating the symptoms that you're experiencing. And I do that through natural methods, lifestyle, diet, exercise, targeted nutrient therapy, things that we need to do to get your systems working harmoniously so your body can heal itself because it knows how to do that. God didn't make any junk, right?
No.
But as human beings, we're really good at screwing up what God made. So I help the body rebalance itself. And I also have a biohacking cellular health spa or biohacking gym here in Richmond, Virginia called the Biohack Zone. And that uses tools and techniques based in science that rapidly speed up your health and performance. And so I weave those into the things I do to get you the fastest results possible.
And Michael, can you give us a few examples of what you have in your gym?
Sure. So we have 4 different rooms. One's devoted to decreasing your stress, both physically and psychologically. One's devoted to increasing your strength, both muscularly and cardiovascularly. One's devoted to improving your circulation and detoxification. And one we call the optimizing appearance room, which is basically everybody's favorite. But what's really happening in that room is we're using technology and specifically light therapy with very specific frequencies that help your fat cells release toxins, help your body produce more collagen, speed up your mitochondrial healing energy ability so you heal faster, your immune system works better, all kinds of cool stuff.
I know. I'm so jealous.
You're invited.
I know, but I would really love it if you were right up the street. So Michael's been treating me for, well over a year. And it's just amazing the things you've done for me. So thank you very, very much. And we've never actually met in person. So that's what's so unique about working with you, because you can do everything virtually.
I can, right? And I see people around the country, and that's really, thank God for computers, as much crap as they create for us and problems.
I know.
But thank God, because they are a window, an avenue that's made it much easier for us to be able to do the work that I do, because I really don't need to have you sitting in front of me, because you are sitting in front of me on a computer screen. That's another reason why I created that online system we talked about last time called Restore Your Health Online. Right. So, and again, just a quick little pitch for that again, because I'm offering a free service to your viewers. I've created a very easy way for you to have a personal nutritionist, a personal trainer, and a functional medicine provider, that's me, in your pocket. And it's called restoreyourhealth.online. And if you go to restoreyourhealth.online, it gives you a breakdown of what's involved with that. There's 3 different levels of service. And I'm offering the base level of service, which is really in depth and tremendous benefit to you, called Simplified Support. And for all of our VTalks viewers, if you want to experience what that's about, you go ahead and act like you're going to purchase a month of that. But instead, you're going to put in coupon code VTalksSugar, all caps, all one word, VTalksSugar. And that will give you a free month of that service, and specifically enroll you in what I call my 1 month low sugar or no sugar challenge, which I call Life is Sweeter Without Sugar. And in that, I give you a very specific diet plan to follow, tell you exactly what to buy, exactly how to prepare your meals. I give you health metric tracking, exercise advice, stress reduction advice, all kinds of great things to enable you to live a healthier life and overcome the sugar addiction that is rampant in our world, which we did a whole episode on.
And what I'll do too is when we share the podcast afterwards, I'll make sure that we have all that for our viewers so they can click on the link and it'll be easier in case they missed it. So, all right.
Great. Good.
All right. So the topic this evening, sir, is
the dreaded
molds.
Right.
And my question to you, my friend, is what is mold?
Right.
What is it?
So we've all heard of mold, of course, and we've heard that mold can be bad for you, but not a lot of people really pay attention to it. And they don't give it a lot of thought. If you see some mold in the wall in your shower, you might just grab a sponge and try to scrub it off, or even get some bleach and try to do that, which is actually a very bad idea.
Really?
We'll talk about why. Okay.
You do this to me all the time. I'm like, oh no, I messed up again. All right, go ahead.
Today, right. So mold is a type of fungi, right? Like mushrooms and other things. And we know that there are poisonous mushrooms, and there are mushrooms that are great for you, that help your immune system, that are adaptogenic and help you deal with stress. So there's good and bad type of fungi. And the same thing in the mold family. There are some that are not very dangerous and some that are very dangerous. And the problem is the kinds that most of us see around our house, like black mold, can be very dangerous. So, and there's tons of mold found in our food. And you've heard me speak before about the fact that I'm not a big fan of eating grains. And I've talked before about the fact that, number one, they convert to sugar faster than anything else you eat, and that causes damage to your cells. I spoke, number two, about grains because they're commonly sprayed with very poisonous pesticides and herbicides, specifically most commonly glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, and that causes massive problems for the bacteria within your body, especially your microbiome in your gut, that you are dependent upon for your very survival, right? And glyphosate screws that up.
Is that to dry the wheat out?
So they do use it also for a process called desiccation, which is drying the wheat out, which is actually kind of a joke because it doesn't dry the wheat out. It kills the wheat. Yeah. And when it kills the wheat then wilts. Yeah. And it makes it easier for the thresher machines to harvest the wheat rather than strong, healthy wheat plants.
Does it affect the nutrients when it does that at all?
Oh, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. And it affects your ability to absorb those nutrients. Okay. And I know we've spoken about that on other episodes and gotten into more detail about that, about the ability for the microorganisms in the soil to convert inorganic minerals from rocks and dirt into an organic form to be absorbed by the plant, because that's the way you get it in your body. You can't eat the rocks. You have to eat the plants that have converted it. That conversion is done by microorganisms, including fungi that are on the tiny little roots called rhizomes of that plant. And without that fungi there, then you're not going to be able to get those nutrients. So the chemical they use, glyphosate, kills those fungi and kills those bacteria in the soil. And so the plant isn't actually getting nutrition. So when you eat that plant, it's really empty of the nutrients you think should be there, right? But then that chemical also goes into your body and starts destroying your good bacteria that you need for your body to work right. And I know you've heard me say this before, but our bodies are actually 90% microbes and only 10% human cells. Wow. So we live in symbiosis with these microbes in our environment. And the whole push we've had over the last, in the last century of antibiotics and, using hand sanitizers, especially during COVID, every place you went, they wanted to squirt you. I would say, no, I do not want that on my skin, because now you're interrupting with my body's natural microbiome ecosystem, and you're going to screw me up. Those are not a good idea. And it also kind of cracked me up because those hand sanitizers don't kill viruses anyway. Oh. They're antibacterial, not antiviral. The whole thing's a sham. It was all a big farce. Don't get me started. Okay.
We already got shut down once, buddy. Our last show got shut down, so we have to be good.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. You know how it goes.
Isn't that crazy? So was that
we don't want to be in Facebook.
Was that our sugar episode that got banned?
I have no idea. Yeah, it was our sugar episode. I don't know, because we used the C. We called it the C word. Don't say it.
Right.
I think that's
we
why.
know that too much of the S word can feed the C word, but we can't actually say those words. Right.
It's something.
Basic physiology, folks.
I don't know. All I know is we're talking about mold. Okay, so we're talking about mold. I think the M word's fine.
We'll find out. Yeah. And if we can't find us on Facebook, tune into YouTube.
That's
we're still there. Right?
There's always a way.
So mold. So what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that certain kinds of molds release a toxic substance called mycotoxins. Right?
Oh, yeah, we're using this banner. All right.
So myco means mold or fungi, right? Mycelium, things like that. Those all refer to mushrooms and fungi. And toxins, we know what toxins are. Toxins are toxins. Toxins are poisons, right? So mycotoxins are the toxins that are derived from molds. Now, here's an interesting one that everyone already knows about. There's a mold called penicillium, and the toxin produced by that's called penicillin.
Should we put penicillin?
Right? Well, penicillium is the actual mold, right? Yeah. And the mycotoxin derived from that is penicillin. And what does penicillin do? Kills bacteria.
Yep.
A lot like that glyphosate does in your gut, right? And we know that too many antibiotics, like penicillin was the original, does what? Screws us up, right? It messes with our natural immune system because that immune system is governed and controlled by those bacteria in your gut. So if you have too much antibiotics, in this case penicillin from a mycotoxin, then it disrupts your natural immune system and can cause problems for you, right? But we do know that penicillin has its good aspects as well, right? So I'm not so worried about penicillium as I am some other more common molds that are found in your home and in your food. And one of the most common is a mold family called Aspergillus. And Aspergillus has a couple of different mycotoxins that are created by that mold that are particularly dangerous to the human nervous system. And those are aflatoxin B1.
Wait, hold on.
All right. I'll let you pull it up.
There, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And ochratoxin A. Big words. You don't have to remember them. Okay. But what I want you to understand from all of this is that this is found on your foods, and we started talking about grains. We got on a tangent, right? But grains are very commonly infected with these molds.
Now, can you see it?
You can't see it, right?
Really?
Now, you may see it when it gets really bad into a big colony, like you see, oh, that food is rotting, right? But
so like when your bread gets moldy, for example,
So-
you start to see the green, white.
right, guess what that is? That's where
Okay,
penicillin comes from.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, long before that, those spores are there, but you don't see them. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not until a really big colony forms that it becomes visible.
All
But
right.
they're forming for days before that.
Mhm.
And the same thing when it's in our grains, right? So when they harvest the grains and maybe they're stored in a warm warehouse where it's moist and this perfect breeding ground for these molds. All right. And you can't see them, but they can become very damaging and dangerous. So the reason I said, let's talk about this topic tonight is I most recently had a patient I'm dealing with in my office who's dealing with this very thing, but didn't know it. As a matter of fact, she was having really bizarre symptoms building for about the last 2 years. They got really bad in the last 6 months, and no one could figure out what was going on. One thing that I thought was interesting was she brought me I said, bring me your old blood work, bring me your test, bring me anything you've been doing. Let me look at that first before I order anything so I could see what's already been done.
Mhm.
And I noticed in her blood work over and over, I kept seeing red blood cells in her urinalysis. And I said, well, this is unusual. You might see it at one time if someone had a urinary tract infection or a bladder infection, right?
Mhm.
And I said, but I saw it across every one she had. 6 months went by, 6 months went by, and she still had this. And she said, oh yeah, they said I must have had a hidden UTI, even though I had no symptoms. I had no pain, no frequency, no urgency for urination. So they put me on antibiotics,
Mhm.
but it didn't change anything. I still had the red blood cells in my urine. So after that happened over and over again, they said, oh, just don't worry about it. I said, well, I'm worried about it. It's not normal. Something is causing that. And if it's not a UTI and it's not your bladder, it's probably your kidneys, right?
Yeah.
So I said, as things that she's explained to me became more bizarre, severe brain fog, a lot of emotional instability, crying, getting weepy really easily,
Mhm.
getting angry more easily than she should have, sinus congestion, feeling disoriented, muscles starting to jump all over her body. And as she describes it, a weird neurologic sensation like ting, 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 ting happening over her body, but it was changing every day. And she's like, I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. And
She knew something.
Right.
Yeah.
She knew something was terribly wrong, but every doctor she went to said, no, we don't see anything wrong. It must be stress. How many times people get told it's all in your head, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people who end up going postal.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's very frustrating when you know something's wrong, but the right tests aren't being done.
Yeah.
So your doctor's not picking up on it. So I
Right.
said to her, look, there's a couple ways we can go about this. I don't want to do every test in the world, but it sounds to me like you're having a very wide range of bizarre symptoms. And when I see that, I start thinking, what controls everything? Your nervous system. What's something that can affect your entire nervous system in different ways? External toxicity. What are the most common forms of that toxicity? Heavy metal toxicity, which is much more common than you would think in our food and our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Environmental toxins in the form of chemical byproducts of like plastics, of gasoline, of cosmetics, different things that we're exposed to every day that you don't pay attention to, and molds. And there are about 15 common molds that we could be exposed to that make over 400 different mycotoxins. So I said, well, we've got a couple of choices. We can test you for, there's a simple test I do that looks for genetic damage in your DNA that occurs due to excessive oxidative damage due to any toxin. So we could do a general test that tells me, are your cells being overwhelmingly damaged by a toxin? It won't tell me what the toxin is. It won't tell me the source of it, but it'll tell me if you're toxic, right?
Yeah.
Or we can run this gamut of tests. We can find out if you're toxic, where it's coming from, so it can help you avoid those things while we're also repairing you from that toxic onslaught. So she said, oh, well, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Let's do that. And I won't lie to you. I mean, that's a lot more expensive to do, right? Mm-hmm. So that basic testing, just to see if your cells are being overrun by toxins, is about $100. Mm-hmm. The test that we ran altogether came out to around $600 or $800. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we had to look at a lot of different things because we didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And when her test results came back, she was positive in all of those three categories. She had heavy metal toxicity, she had environmental toxins coming from cosmetics and plastics, and she had off the charts ochratoxin A, mycotoxicosis. And mycotoxicosis is the name we give to the toxic disease state you get when you're overwhelmed by mycotoxins.
Right.
Okay? And when we looked at, okay, what can that affect? Mm-hmm. Neurologic upset, destruction of your nervous system, affecting your brain and spinal cord, leading to brain fog, emotional instability, strange muscle contractions, strange neurologic sensations, and kidney damage.
What? She ticked every box.
Right? So I said, this has been going on for at least 2 years because we've seen this in your blood for 2 years. Oh, yeah. And it's gotten progressively worse because no one pointed it out and no one put you on a protocol to fix it or bothered to do the right test to find out where it was coming from. So now we can have you start to avoid those things.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. The bad news is the most common source of this stuff is your home and or your car, right? Now, if it's in your home, we have to do the right testing. You have to get a mold company to come in and do testing. And I don't typically recommend that you get a mold remediation company to do the testing because there's a little conflict of interest there. They're more likely to find something they can remove.
Sure.
Right? I'm not saying that
makes sense.
Right. And I'm not saying that these guys are not being on the up and up, but human nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, get tested by an outside company that only does testing and doesn't have any connection to a removal company. Mm-hmm. And that's generally more expensive. It's about $300 for her to do that because the mold remediation company said, well, we'll test you for free. Right. And great, but I'll do that and get an external test done and see if they jive. Mm-hmm. Right. So she did that now, and we're waiting for the results to find out, is it coming from our house? And then I said to her, even if that comes back negative, test your car.
So how would you grow mold in your car? What are some things, or how would there be toxins in there?
Right.
Okay.
Because all these molds grow from moisture. Mm-hmm. Right. And so if you ever had a leak in your roof of your house, mm-hmm. if you have water coming in around the windows, under mm-hmm. the sill of your door from a driving rain, right? Mm-hmm. If you ever had a leak in your car, a breach of your windshield, maybe the car got water damage, maybe there was a flood, right?
Sure.
So a lot of vehicles were being sold, refurbished, being sold after things like Hurricane Sandy in New England and Long Island, mm-hmm. and people didn't know it, and they were getting very, very sick after driving these cars, not realizing that there was an invisible, hidden mold danger there, right?
Right.
So you have to watch out for these things. You have to get tested for them.
Gosh, what about boats?
Yeah, boats. Right now, she didn't have exposure to a boat, But
Right.
her job causes her to travel, and she's in her car more than she's in her house. So I said, you got to check your car too. So we're going to do that after we check our house.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can come in and you can remediate that mold and get it removed where you see it. The problem is a lot of these spores are invisible. And I said it's a bad idea to go at them with bleach, right? So the good thing about
that's what I was going to ask, because you
right.
think we'll put bleach on it. Is that where, how does that affect you?
For a survival mechanism, the second that bleach hits that mold,
Mm-hmm.
the mold goes poof and releases millions of spores, okay, that are invisible to the eye and go stick to that wall, stick to your clothes, stick to your couch, stick to your dog. Really? And now that goes around your house. So you just spread it instead of getting rid of it. Now, it may take a while for that colony where it just landed to grow big enough to create something you can see. That may take months to years. Mm-hmm. So you think, I got rid of it. But then, hey, look, now it's over here and now it's over there. But all the while, you've been breathing it in and or going through your skin when you touch your clothes, pet your dog it landed on, because it goes through your skin. It gets breathed in and it gets ingested on your food, like the grains that are.
So the mold you can see, I just want to be clear, the mold you can see, black mold,
mm-hmm.
You spray it with bleach and it disappears, but it didn't disappear.
Right.
It just got smaller and spread, and that's why you don't see it.
Right. So you're getting rid of some of it, but before it got out of there, it's like, hey, kids, get out of here.
Wow.
5-0,
okay.
Run. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, and they run and they deposit, right? You ever see, like, it's really kind of cool to watch, but they do like those slow-mo videos of like a mushroom going poof and releasing like this spray, right? And you're like, what is that? Well, that's the mushroom spreading out its spores. That's how it grows and continues. Well, this is like a mushroom. It's a fungi, and it releases its spores. And the great thing and the horrible thing about spores at the same time is they're extremely tough and resistant, right? So I like using spore-based probiotics because they're extremely resistant and they get through the digestive acid and down into the gut, because even bacteria have spores, right? So I use spore probiotics for that reason, but the same benefit of that is to the detriment of you, right? Because if it's from a fungus, it's going to stick to you, right? So it's pretty bad news. And as I said, it affects your nervous system. So that affects everything. So you can have really weird, far-ranging symptoms like fatigue and brain fog and muscle weakness, right? You can have even more serious problems like speech difficulties, ringing in your ears, visual difficulties. All these things can start to build up as your nervous system is affected by that. One of the more common things is also sinus congestion or coughing, okay, because it gets into the respiratory system. And your nose is a good indicator for you. So if you already have a mycotoxin infection, your body goes on high alert to your brain saying, okay, schnozola, pay attention, right? If you smell musty, mildewy stuff in a place, that's mold, okay? Now, if you already have a mycotoxin, your sense of that smell is going to get much more acute. So if you're with a group of friends and you walk into a building, you go, woo, man, that's nasty. And they all go, what are you talking about? You say that mildew smell. No, we don't smell anything. And you're the only one. You have a mycotoxin infection. All right. Because you're on high alert and you're smelling it well before anybody else, because your brain's saying, get the hell out of here. Okay. So that's just one way, without any testing, you can tell if you have a problem.
Okay.
All right. Now, that's not for everybody. Not everybody who has a mycotoxin infection will have that, but that is one thing that can happen.
Okay.
All right. So what do you do about it? Well, you clean it out, but you only clean out what you can see. So the reality is, if it's real bad and you clean it all out and you still continue to have the symptoms, you got to move. You got to get out of that environment, because you're never going to get it all out. And when you move, if you take your furniture and clothing with you, you also took the mold with you. So it's everywhere, especially fabric surfaces, right? So you've got to move and get all new furniture and all new clothes.
Wow.
So this is a big endeavor if you can't get it all out.
I was just going to ask how to clean the mold out of the shower.
Right. So
How do you even do that?
The better ways to get rid of it are essential oil blends. They're designed specifically for that purpose, right? And you can actually get them right on Amazon, or look for essential oil blends for mold removal.
Or Young Living.
Or Young Living. I'm not sure if they have a mold removal particular blend at Young Living.
I know my Young Living girls. Hopefully they're out there. They're out there.
So I ask them.
somewhere.
I'm not affiliated with any particular essential oil company or anything like that, but I do like essential oils. I use them every day in my office, and I choose all different brands, different kinds. I like to support local. So there's a local organic essential oil company right here in Richmond that I use in my office every day. It's called Anoush blend, and you can actually get Anoush, ANOUSH, online at our friend Lisa's Mamie's Apothecary, right? Our friend Lisa owns here in Richmond Mamie's Apothecary, and at mamiesapothecary.com online, you can buy some of these essential oils. I like Anoush because they're local and organic, and they have a blend called Defense Blend, which boosts and supports your immune system. And it smells like Christmas to me because it smells like, the good stuff you would simmer on the stove, like cinnamon and clove.
Okay.
Right.
Is there a product that will actually make the mold go away
so the essential oil blend,
and like in the shower,
let me do a quick search on Amazon because I just don't remember the name of it. So while I'm talking to you, I'll do that. But there is a blend you can get on Amazon that actually will kind of like more gently kill it, like sneak in the back door and kill it. So it doesn't quite go, whoa, get out of here, because it doesn't see it coming.
Yeah, we'll have to let people know about that one too.
All right, let me see what comes up.
Well, this is unbelievable, really.
All right, I'm gonna have to do a little more digging because
that's all right. We'll get it.
But I'll let you know. And I'm sorry I wasn't prepared with that. I kind of forgot to prepare that, but there is a particular blend for that. It's a cleaning product. There's also another cleaning product that's based on, and I'm going to have to get the name of that for you too because I'm forgetting right now, but it's basically competitive inhibition. So using other types of organisms like bacteria to crowd out the mold. And so it's like probiotics for your house, right? So it's a cleaning material that you spray on your countertop, spray on your clothes, and it uses that to get rid of this stuff. Okay, so and I'll get you the name of that. So I apologize, but there'll be an addendum to this presentation that I'll have the names of those things for you. I'll get that right away for you.
Okay. And so you identify that you have all of these toxins in your body.
What do you do now?
Get the mold remediation.
Right.
It's either out of your house or you've moved, clean slate. How do you get these toxins out of your body?
Well, a shout out to our sponsor. You want to use a proper air purification system in your home that helps to pull those spores out of the air and trap them in a filter before they get into your lungs.
And our sponsor is wiseair.com.
Right. So WiseAir, I'm sure it has the technology available for you to do that. Okay. And there's special filters that serve that purpose. Not all filters will capture something that small. Right. So check out those guys because that's important. If you're going to be in that environment, you want to be breathing clean air. Right. Now, what do we do about the stuff that's already in your body?
Yeah.
You may have heard me talk before about I've created a specific protocol that I call my complete cellular detoxification protocol or complete cellular detox. And the reason I call it that is because it's just that, it's complete. So I've designed this protocol that takes a minimum of 8 weeks. You can't do this fast. A minimum of 8 weeks to draw the toxins, whether it be mold, mycotoxins, fungi and yeast like Candida, heavy metal toxicity like mercury, lead, aluminum, arsenic, which is in our food and our air, various chemical toxins like glyphosate, My system will draw all that out of your body. And there's 3 steps to that system, and they must be followed in order for you not to get sicker. Because once these are in your body's trying to hunker down and trap them in different areas so they don't damage your liver and your brain and your nervous system and your lungs, because they will. So you have to draw them out, but you have to draw them out safely and slowly so they don't just get released and then bombard your body and make you sicker.
Okay.
So the first step in that process is you have to support all of those organs and glands of elimination: liver, kidneys, lungs, intestinal tract, blood, lymph. All these things have to be properly supported with specific nutrients to get them bolstered up and strong, because we're about to let loose, right? Mm-hmm. Step 2 is following my specific protocol to keep supporting those guys. But now we start to dig deep, get across the cell membranes, and draw these toxins, including the mycotoxins, out of the cells where they're already hidden. Okay. And then after we do that, we then move on to drawing them out of the brain cells, the neurons. So we use certain things to help our protocol get across the blood-brain barrier, which is there to protect you, and pull these toxins out slowly. And it has to be done in that order to be efficient and effective, right? So if your body is all backed up with toxins and you try to go to the brain first, it's going to be very hard to draw it down and out if it hits a roadblock where all these things are still backed up, right? So we follow a particular protocol. Now, honestly, if you have a high amount of mold toxicity or heavy metals, it's going to take a lot more than 8 weeks, all right? I recommend a minimum of 12 weeks, and then we retest to see how much is still present. And if it is, we go another 12 weeks, then we retest, and we keep doing that until we see it's gone. Now, that is different for every person. Maybe the first person will get rid of it in 12 weeks, right? 3 months. Maybe someone else will take 3 years. And I'm not kidding. If you're really, really toxic, this stuff hunkers down hard, and it takes time to get it out. But if you don't, it can lead to serious neurologic consequences and even early death.
Wow. And they're just not testing you for that in the hospital, are they? Like at the doctor's office?
Not at all. It's very uncommon to see your traditional doctor do this testing, because it's not something that they usually look for. It's also not something they usually have a good way of dealing with. Mm-hmm. So in the case of heavy metals, a traditional toxicologist would use pretty strong drugs to chelate or bind those metals and pull them out. But those same drugs damage your liver and kidneys in the process. So I'm not a big fan of that. You know, now, if you're on your deathbed, yeah, do whatever you have to do, right? Sure. Get that out as fast as possible, because you maybe don't have the 3 months to 3 years to work with me, right? But
how would a doctor assess you to even, would they even go down that path to see if you had heavy metal? Like, would they just treat the symptoms?
They'll treat the symptoms. I have another patient I'm dealing with that right now, and she's had really weird symptoms going on. And we deduced from what she's been telling me that I really thought that she had heavy metal toxicity, specifically mercury. Mm-hmm. And in further questioning her and testing her, I found that she was indeed in the red zone for mercury. Mm-hmm. And that was on a blood test. And there's different ways to test for things, and they tell you different things. Mm-hmm. So heavy metals, especially mercury, can be tested through blood or urine, but they're telling you different things about different forms of mercury. Mm-hmm. There's inorganic and organic forms. They're not the same thing. Some come from fish, some come from fillings, right? So there's different ways. And one test will show there is a problem, and one show there isn't. And so I was very frustrated with her in her situation, because her blood test showed, that was done by her medical doctor, by the way, that she was off the charts high in the red zone. They said, okay, let's check your urine. And if it's okay in your urine, we're not going to worry about it. And that made no sense to me, because they're different. You're testing different things. All right. And her urine came out showing there was some, but it was low. I said, well, did they provoke your urine? Did they give you one of those chemical agents I just talked about that forced your kidneys to push that mercury out hard? She said, no, not at all. I said, well, then you're going to see very little there, because your body's holding it. So just the fact that it was present tells me that you've got it. But unless you use one of those agents to push it out, you're not going to see it. in those high ranges on your urine. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Right?
I know
So,
you get frustrated.
so I said they
Yeah.
didn't do the right test the right way, and they're coming to an improper conclusion by telling you it's not a problem. It is a problem. You can see the problem. You're symptomatically getting worse every day. That person now developed tremors. They have distension of their abdomen. They feel like they can't eat anything without getting severely nauseous. So, and
Is
that's
that from the metallic fillings, the mercury
in
fillings,
her case,
or
it was both that, and she was eating an abundance of tuna.
okay?
And tuna is very high in mercury. Now, the mercury in the tuna was the one that showed up in the blood. So they told her, just don't worry about it. Just don't eat tuna anymore. It's not that easy. That will stop bringing it in, but you got to get out what's there.
Sure.
And the fact that it showed up in the urine told me that it was coming from her fillings. And the fillings have to be removed a very specific way to be safely done. You can't just drill them out. I mean, you physically can just drill them out, but that releases all the mercury vapor. And it's the vapor, the invisible vapor, that's toxic. So again, the American Dental Association will tell you that as long as it's in the filling and the filling's not disturbed, it's safe. Well, that's not 100% true, because vapor releases from those fillings, and what releases more of that vapor is warmth and friction. So anytime you eat a hot meal, more gets released. It gets absorbed and goes to your brain, goes to your heart, goes to your kidneys, and goes to your liver. And they find on autopsy that the more filling somebody has, the more mercury they find in the brain, heart, liver, and kidneys, and the more it leads to damage and destruction in those areas, right? That may have possibly led to the fact that they were now doing an autopsy, right? So I know we went off the topic of mold, but it's all kind of interrelated. Now, I said that same patient that was having the mold toxicity tested high on heavy metals and tested high on these chemicals, right? Now, what was interesting there was that she was super high in the mold, which I think created a major challenge for her immune system, which diverted it away from helping with detoxification, because your immune system is doing that's part of its job. Mm-hmm. So while these other chemicals were coming in, they weren't getting flushed out as quickly as they should. And so now they were starting to build up. And so that's why in the last 6 months, she suddenly got much worse, because her bucket was overflowing. So everyone has a bucket. We all do. Yeah. The size of our bucket, whether we have a small, medium, or large bucket, can originally be created by our genetics. Mm-hmm. But how much we fill that bucket is our lifestyle. And how our body's effective at dumping that bucket safely is also related to how we treat our bodies and our exposure, right? So in this case, she was layering and layering and layering and layering. And one of those layers was so toxic, it stopped her detoxification abilities. So now her bucket could no longer safely empty. Now it dumped. And when it dumped, all hell broke loose. And that's when I started to see her. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're right in the midst of this. We're just finding all this, and she's upset and frustrated. I am so happy because we found something we can help. And I know that my protocols will help her. Yeah. I know it's going to take time, and she has to be ready to deal with that, but that's just reality. Yeah. Right? It took a lifetime of building up these toxins. It's going to take a while to get rid of them. But when we do, she's going to be happier and healthier. Wow.
That's an amazing story. So what would you recommend that people do? I guess, first of all, what symptoms would you be concerned with?
Well, I'll tell you some things we already mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. But the funny thing about symptoms is they can be related to a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. So do you ever have symptoms and you go to WebMD and start putting it in or Googling it and go, oh, that was a bad idea?
Yeah.
Because I could either have a cold or cancer, or either I stub my toe or I have an aneurysm. I know. So that can get really tricky.
I know. And we're all doctors.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and, in the advent of the internet, and especially
I'm terrible
the last couple of years, we've all become armchair specialists.
Oh, yeah. I'm the best.
So what I recommend is, instead of focusing on individual symptoms, let me help you by filling out some in-depth questionnaires I have that look at general toxicity, and neurotoxicity, specifically toxicity of your nervous system. Because I look at constellations of symptoms, groupings of symptoms, severity of symptoms, frequency of symptoms. And that all together points me towards a specific direction. So rather than saying I have fatigue, I have brain fog, I have itchy skin, whatever it may be, I may look at this constellation and say, oh, because you have these 10 things happening this often, it points me in this direction. And there, if I could tell you, test that, not that, right? To confirm our suspicions.
Right.
So another thing I'd be happy to do for our viewers is offer that questionnaire free of charge.
Yeah.
So if they want to do that, it'll take them a little while to fill it out. I can email it to them, get it back to me. I'll analyze it, and we can have a 15-minute free consult where I'll tell you if I have concerns or not.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you get Dr. Wild for free for 15 minutes.
And I can tell you a lot in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, granted, you may not believe that because we always go on for an hour and 15 minutes of droning on in different tangents. You may think, how can you ever say anything in 15 minutes? But believe it or not, I've gotten really good at it.
Yeah, no,
right?
you're very good. And then, if you wouldn't mind talking to our viewers about all of the blood tests and all of the, I don't know what you call the other tests, like all of the tests that, I don't
Sure.
know, say fluid test. What do you call them?
So
what do you call those tests? How would you umbrella them?
Right? So
biomarker. I'm like,
right.
all those fluid tests you have me do.
So
Spitting
we
in
have
this and peeing
different
in
kinds
this.
of biomarkers, right?
Yeah.
Biomarkers
So biomarker.
Biomarkers in saliva, biomarkers in urine, biomarkers in stool. So we do all that kind of testing. And we can do it with people all around the country. And 90% of the tests I do are at-home tests.
Yeah.
Only 10%.
I've done several.
Right. I mean, you would be amazed what I could figure out from a drop of blood that you can do your own, or a little vial of stool, or a little vial of urine. So it gives me what I need to know. I use specialty labs that are actually found around the country. Mm-hmm. So the way we do it, and now I've made it even easier with Restore Your Health Online, is I've actually hooked up now with a testing service where rather than me going individually to each individual lab for the specific test they do, purchasing tests, which I then pass on to you, I'm now doing it through kind of a laboratory co-op. And so they purchase 1,000 tests at a time from these individual labs. And so I get a really tremendous discount on them, which I am thrilled to pass on to anyone I work with. So you may not realize
they're not expensive.
No, I mean, tests can start at $20.
Yeah.
Right. And just to put things in perspective, people don't realize that even laboratory tests have a markup. Just like anything you buy in the store, you're buying at retail, the store bought it at wholesale, and the wholesaler got it at a lower rate from the manufacturer, right? So what you bought for $1 originally cost 25 cents all the way down to 10 cents, right? That's just business. That's the way it works. There's a chain of command. Yeah. So when you get a laboratory test done, even through your doctor, you're paying retail, okay? And retail is high. Even if you say, oh, my insurance covers it. Well, do you have a deductible? Do you have a co-payment?
Oh, my deductible is ridiculous.
Right? It is.
I mean, unless I'm in the hospital, like major, I never meet my deductible.
And that's the truth. And I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I want my mom to get some blood work done. I was concerned about certain things. And I said, Mom, these are the tests I want you to do. Now, Mom's in New York. I'm in Virginia. Now, when it comes to blood work drawn at a phlebotomist facility like a LabCorp or Quest, there are certain states that will not allow someone to do that with a recommendation from a doctor out of state. And New York's one of them. So while I could send you a requisition form for you to walk into LabCorp and get this done, I could not send that to my mom. Right?
I think we had this discussion.
Right. So I said, these are the things I want to see done. Now, go ahead and tell your doctor, give them this list, see if they'll do it. And the doctor was agreeable, said, I'll do everything that your son's recommending and we'll put it through your insurance, which was Medicare, right? So thankfully, my mom said, okay, well, thank God Medicare covered the majority of that for me. So my out-of-pocket's pretty low. I only owe a couple of $100. I said, wait a minute, your part was a couple $100. How much did they charge for those tests? And she said, oh, I have the receipt right here. They charged just over $1,600 to the insurance. I said, Mom, I can get those tests in total for $216.
See,
So
I hope we don't get shut down again.
Right?
See,
talk about markup. So when someone works with me, they get the test for $216, not $1,600, right? Because I don't accept insurance. I'm done with working with insurance. Insurance puts a wedge between the doctor and his patient.
Yeah.
And they make it very difficult for the patient to get the care they really need because a pencil pusher, the insurance firm, is saying, I need to save the insurance company a buck. That's how I make a commission. So they're going to deny things or write things down. Well, I was tired of that. Did that for almost 30 years in practice. I said, no more. I went to all cash. I said, let me figure out ways that I can make it so it costs people less. Right. And I figured that all out. So even when you come see me in my office, same deal. Right. What another office is charging you $100 for, I'm charging you $25 for. Right.
Yeah. I was really surprised at how inexpensive your testing was.
And the way I do it is I get you the test for my cost, and then I charge a fee for my consulting. Right. And so there are different packages available for that. For example, on the restoreyourhealth.online, I have 3 levels of service. Again, the baseline is called simplified support. The middle service is personalized protocols. And the top level is consultant connection. And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. All the testing is done in that level, right?
Yeah.
And that level includes the other levels too, already thrown in for free.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of information and a lot of advice and a lot of guidance for free. And under the consultant connection, you're getting a 30-minute consult with me to discover the root cause of your problems. We're going to have already gone through in-depth questionnaires. I'm going to know a lot about you by that point. I'm then going to recommend as few tests as possible to confirm my suspicions based on everything you've told me. You're going to pay for those tests at that below wholesale cost.
No, it's true. I mean, that's why I have you on my podcast. Like it's because you've helped me so much and you've helped so many of my friends. I want to get the word out that there are options, that there are options for people and you can prevent disease. This is real, folks. It really is.
If you don't prevent it, it's pay now or pay later. And
I mean,
paying later costs a whole lot more.
Off topic, but we talked about this last week. They were trying to take out my thyroid.
Yeah. And
now they're like, whoa, what did you do? Your thyroid shrunk. Everything is, fine. What did you do?
Yeah, unfortunately, the medical system that we've adopted,
they were scheduling me for surgery. I told them no.
The system is very it's radical, right? Yeah. It's a lot of wait and watch. Wait until it gets so bad that you need a drug, and when that doesn't work anymore, we're going to cut it out.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of that approach. Right.
That was such a good show, though, when we were talking about the thyroid. There were so many people that are in my age group that said that they were having thyroid issues.
It's extremely prevalent.
The
an epidemic
protocol was just to take it out.
Yep.
And the way, the doctor that I had was like, oh, well, we'll just put you on this pill afterwards. It'll be fine.
And it's not that simple because your thyroid is secreting multiple hormones, changing split second throughout the day. And there's no way by popping one pill, it's going to cover all that or do it in the right amount at the right time.
Right. And it's cookie cutter and we're not all the same. Our hormones are all different and what we need. So I knew better, but how many people go to the doctor and don't know better and don't ask questions? It's very frustrating for me.
For me too.
I don't, I worry about people. So
that's why I do what I do because I couldn't stand to see it anymore. And it's funny because like I have, my colleagues who say to me, we're confused about why you do all this functional medicine stuff and this biohacking stuff. You're a really good chiropractor. You help tons of people with that. You have a successful practice. Why do you spend so much time doing all this other stuff? Why do you spend all this time in education, on expanding your office to accommodate it? Why do you do that free podcast with Veronica? What's in it for you? I said, what's in it for me is saving someone's life.
Right. I mean, we're aligned there. That's what we want to do. We want to help people. You know, this is what it is.
You know,
that's simple. It's okay. That is the goal. And now we're helping wiseair.com.
That's right.
Here we go. Yeah.
That's right. You know,
I'm so excited.
We're very thankful that we actually have a sponsor, because up to now we would start by saying, and sponsored by me, myself, and I, because no one's paying us to do this.
Sponsored by Ralphie.
Right. Ralphie and Kibble, right?
Yeah.
So, no one's paying us for our time. We do this because we care. Yeah. And that's the bottom line. All joking aside, we do this because we care and because we are on a mission. You have a wonderful program where you introduce people to all kinds of different experts and interesting people in different fields of study and walks of life that have something important to share that's of value to somebody else. Right. And I feel so honored, you know, that you have asked me to do this. And I feel like, you know,
I always look forward to chatting with you. I really, really do.
Well,
I've never met in person.
Well, I really look forward to it too. You know, I get excited about our last Tuesday of the month, and I say, you know, I get excited. What are we going to talk about this time? You know, what's the topic of du jour? Because it gives us an opportunity to talk about things that most people are not talking about. You know, and to offer solutions. And I hope people are getting that from what we're saying. Is that you know, I'm not trying to sell my services, folks. That's not what I'm doing. Not at all. I mean, I do.
Well, you're selling them to help people. You want people healthy,
right?
And you want to show them there are options out there.
There's no conflict of interest here. That's why I offer free services all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no, you know, qualifications for that. It's just book a free call with me. Go to my website, drwildcanhelp.com, right? drwildcanhelp.com. And the first thing you see is book a free consult, because it's really free. You get 15 minutes to ask me whatever you want to ask me. You know, and with the restoreyourhealth.online now, you can even get a free month of really detailed dietary advice and stress reduction and, you know, specific information about targeted nutrients you can use and things that I can do to help you help yourself, you know.
And don't forget, Michael, I want you to shoot me some information on, we were talking about the products that can remove the mold safely.
Right. And I will do that. I will. I know I have information about it at my office where I'll be tomorrow. So if I don't get it to you tonight, I'll absolutely get it to you tomorrow.
And then we can also just put the links to the Restore Your Health online.
Right. So it's restoreyourhealth.online,
and we can get all that out, because Detox listeners will get, what do they get? They get a
completely free month of the Simplified Support, which is an app that you download that you keep forever. That gives you detailed dietary recommendations, including grocery lists, meals, recipes, gives you health metric tracking. I give you about 7 or 8 different things you can track on your daily routines to see how you're doing, from things such as water consumption to hours of intermittent fasting to your weight to, you know, all kinds of things I give you that you can track. And it ties right in with your fitness trackers like your Apple Watch or your Fitbit. Okay, so it links right to that if you want that. I also have on there, I have handpicked very targeted nutrients in the form of very specific professional grade, high quality supplements that augment desired goals. Like the one I'm offering for free to our viewers is using the coupon code VTalksSugar, VTalksSugar, all caps, one word, VTalksSugar. Put that in the coupon code, and it will zero out the fee for a month of Simplified Support. And I will give you the diet that helps you slowly decrease your sugar consumption, because it's hard to go cold turkey. and it is an addiction.
Yeah.
And if you already have signs of sugar metabolism problems, pre-diabetes, early heart disease, weight gain, fatigue, thyroid problems, these are all related to sugar issues.
Yeah.
I also have targeted supplements for helping your body metabolize your sugar better and help your cells get rid of the toxins better. Handpicked, including there if you want to use them. You don't have to, but they're there. You can order them right through the app, and you can get them through the app for less than you can buy them on Amazon.
Yeah.
Which is cheap. And by the way, folks, don't buy supplements on Amazon. There's a lot of counterfeit stuff there, a tremendous amount of counterfeit stuff there. I've read lots of studies about tests that were done, and about 75% of the time, every time they've looked at them, they're counterfeit. So that's a big problem. So I have this linking directly to the supplement manufacturers, but at a discount cost, less than what you could even get on Amazon. So you can't beat it. You just can't beat it, right?
No.
I'm trying to figure out every which way I can to get you great service, great help. All right. So check it out.
Michael, thank you.
My pleasure.
Really, always wonderful to see you. And give Ralphie a little kiss for me. He's so
I will
cute.
right now.
I know. I love his little haircut.
Yeah, he's not quite my hairy boy anymore, but he's still my little baby boy.
Yeah, it was hot there in Virginia, so he's probably feeling pretty nice and cool.
I think he's happier for sure.
Yeah. All right, my friend. I guess I'll see you next month.
All right.
With another great topic. Thank you for sharing.
All right. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight and learning all about mold. I will be forwarding some information from Michael on some products that will help remove the mold from your home. And then he will get the promotional information to you as well for our Vtox viewers. So have a good evening. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. Happy 4th, everybody. And we'll see you next time.